What is one simple thing that you can do today to start to grow your podcast? I was inspired by a friend of mine, Aaron Mankey, who runs a range of podcasts. The original podcast that he created, of course, is Law, a wonderful folklore-based podcast. And Aaron is a friend of mine. He's a fantastic podcaster, a fantastic creator, and just a great person all around. And we were talking over on Twitter about podcast growth, and he said, you know what? This is one thing that I would recommend to help you to grow your show right away. And it really got me thinking. Actually, Aaron, I think you're onto something there. And when someone of that stature and that caliber and who has had that success in podcasting is giving you a tip, well, it makes me think we should all be taking that kind of advice. This is something that came from that conversation with Aaron. And I think it's something that independent creators of podcasts, even at the level where you've maybe only got 10, 15, 20, 100 downloads per episode, I think we can all learn from this, all right? So one simple thing that you can do today to help your show to grow is to produce better episodes. And I know you're thinking, Marco, come on, dude. This is a cop-out. This is a bait and a switch. Let me explain. Of course, people want to produce better episodes. Of course, people want to produce the very best episodes, but people don't. People still think of podcasting as a medium that isn't that saturated. And when you compare it to the number of blogs out there, there are 1.3 million podcasts out there. There are, 50, 60 million blogs out there? Lord knows how many YouTube channels there are out there. Of course, podcasting isn't as saturated as those channels, but it also doesn't have the market reach yet of those channels. More and more people know about podcasts, but not as many people know about podcasts as that know about Googling something and a blog post coming up, or YouTube, all right? So we have a battle on our hands, okay? This thought-provoking chat, this exchange with Aaron really got me thinking, and I thought, well, at a really high level, of course, people know they need to produce better episodes. They need to produce the very, very best. But what does that mean, and why is it important for podcast growth? Well, it's very, very simple when you distill it down, all right? People want high-quality experiences, and this is the thing. They don't want high-quality things. They want high-quality experiences, and every part of your podcast. Remember, we talked before about shareability. This is one fantastic element of this. Why would I share your show if the experience isn't fantastic? Now, I'm not just talking about content. You might have the world's best story to tell on your podcast, but if you've never studied how to tell stories, you aren't going to produce the best podcast. If you have an amazing guest on your podcast, an amazing interviewee, but you've never studied how to be a good interviewer, how can you produce the best content? This is what really got me thinking when we started chatting. And like I said, when Aaron and I had this Twitter exchange, what's vital here is the fact that we have to upskill ourselves. I've been public speaking for a long, long time. I've been doing this for maybe 6-7 years. I've produced over 1,100 podcast episodes, and I do not think my podcast episodes are the best podcast episodes. And that is why I'm always striving to do better. That's why, despite giving hundreds of talks across thousands of different venues in front of thousands of different people, I am still trying to get better and actively studying the art of delivering talks and stories. In fact, there's a book that I recommend by David Nihill, which is Do You Talk Funny? Something that I've just finished reading because I want to get better at delivery. And arguably after 1,100 episodes, you'd think, well, that's all right. You can just lean on that experience, but you can't. You have to get better. So what I'm talking about here is not some macro level produce better stuff. I'm talking about you, the podcaster, being the best you can be. If you're an interview show, learn to be an interviewer. Just because you have a microphone and something to record into doesn't mean you're an interviewer. It means you can interview, but it doesn't mean you're an interviewer. Just because I have a microphone and a karaoke machine doesn't mean I'm a singer. It means I can do a bit of singing, but it doesn't mean that I'm a singer. And this is the difference that I want you to understand, because there's a lot of very flippant advice out there. There's a lot of people teaching you how to do stuff at a very top level, just very macro stuff. Look at all of the communities that you find online teaching you podcasting, the Facebook groups, some of the paid Facebook groups even. Look at the people running them. They're not giving you actually any information. They're giving you macro level inspiration. They're telling you, produce better episodes. And what I'm saying to you is this: let's go deeper. What do you need to get better at? What skills don't you have that would make your show better? Do you need to be funnier? Do you need to be a better interviewer? Do you need to learn how to tell better stories? Do you need to know how to structure a tale better? Do you need to understand how to put together a host-read advertisement for your sponsors? Have you studied that, all right? Go and study the best at this. Go and study what Aaron Mahnke does when it comes to storytelling and what Stephen King does when it comes to storytelling. Go and study what Jordan Harbinger does as an interviewer, the prep that goes into each interview. Go and study the way that Jordan does his advertisements, in particular, some of the stuff that he does around the advertorial stuff, the work that he does with the brands that he works with on just an outstanding piece of advertorial content that he puts out, all right? Go and study these things. Go and study high-level production, even if you don't edit your own show. You need to know the style that you want. This is not macro level, just be better. It's specifically, what gaps do you have? If you say that you're an interview show, can you prove to me that you're the best interviewer that you can be? And if you can't, what are you doing to get better? This is something I work on every day. It's something that I know the best in the business work on every single episode. And if it's good enough for them, it has to be good enough for us. So please, find your gaps, fill them, work hard to produce the very best content that you can, and watch your audience numbers grow as you expose your listeners and your fans to progressively better podcasts.